Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all are fine. I am Kanza Ijaz, faculty member from Business Department. Basically, we are here to arrange this session for employability skills. Me and Ms. Varda from Art and Design Department will carry on this session. अभी हमारे एक और गेस्ट स्पीकर हैं, उनका हम वेट कर रहे हैं, वो ऑनलाइन हो जाएं तो हम आगे अपना सेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं। थोड़ा सा मैं आप लोगों को मोनार्क के बारे में बताती चलूं कि मोनार्क इज बेसिकली ऑफरिंग इंटरनेशनल स्टडीज। आपको यूके बेस्ड यूनिवर्सिटी से उनकी डिग्री जो है वो एफिलिएशन मिलती है। हमारे साथ मैम खोला गेस्ट स्पीकर हैं हमारे पास। Today we have arranged our session that allows high school students to increase their employability skills, identify their leadership skills, and gain understanding of how these skills are crucial in any field and position in the workforce. Okay, let me introduce. Sir, Nemati, Yaruq?
No. No. So
Okay.
is not live.
We have our honorable guest speaker, Ma'am Kholah. She is, let me introduce herself. She is international education specialist, academician with a focus on quality assurance and enhancement for transnational education. She supports internationalization of the institution and deals the regulatory approvals for all international programs and successfully got all the campuses approved by the regulatory body. And she is a member of university senior leadership with responsibility for developing strategic partnership and developing the university's global brand. Let me welcome Ma'am Kholah first. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Walaikum salam. Yes, you are. I can hear you and I can see you. Kanza, you've introduced me. Is there? Should we begin? Is this the beginning of the session? You'll have to unmute yourself.
We were just waiting for another guest speaker. I guess he will join us in a couple of minutes. Without wasting our time, let's start the session. Basically, we have arranged this session with our respected guest that allows students to hear from a range of professionals who share their individual stories, their perspectives, their experiences with us, and answer the direct question, basically. So without wasting the time, let me start the session. Ma'am, first, just tell us that how do you see that transnational education in comparison of traditional education of Pakistan in terms of employability skills?
Well, transnational education has been part of the global community at large. If you look at Singapore, if you look at the growth in Malaysia, and if you look at the world at large, I think the first branch campus opened 100 years ago, or more than 100 years ago. And so transnational education or international education or borderless education has been part of the globe for a very long time. And I think countries have benefited from the synergies that it creates. What international education allows your community, society, and youth is a lot of inclusivity. So, for example, if you look at it from the point of view of learners, they get access to, and let's say if we're talking about subjects like medicine or engineering or computing, you get access to curriculum designed by someone sitting in New Zealand, Australia, America, England. So some of the leading universities, the Russell Group in London, Oxford, Cambridge, we're talking about Ivy League schools, depending on where the access is from. So for the learners, I feel that's a great opportunity. And when we talk about the students, the faculty and the staff members and colleagues like yourself and me, it's an opportunity to learn and to work with virtually and post-pandemic, it's been something that's become a normal. But before that, when we started offering transnational education in Pakistan, it was known to be something of a niche and a boutique, something some schools or universities or colleges were doing. For example, A levels education or O levels education, IGCSE is a prime example of how parallel education in Pakistan can progress and benefit students with the curriculum that probably government schools are not providing, which is obviously not the final solution. But what I'm saying is, until government schools or public sector in Pakistan does not do better, what can be done is providing those years or 20, 10, 15, 50 for in our case, have transnational education come in and build that gap. So I think that, and I feel that there's a huge opportunity in something that may seem like a bleak situation for a developing country like Pakistan, but it's an opportunity. And it just I feel, and I always say this in all my presentations as well, which I give, and I speak publicly a lot about this, that it's just a part of widening participation and including Pakistan's youth, giving them a parallel opportunity to study from greats and giants like London School of Economics, Royal Holloway, UK education. So, I mean, we've got to take the best from the world as is, so that our youth can grow. So it's just giving them opportunity.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से एक्सप्लेन किया और मैम कौला ने बहुत ही ग्रेट तरीके से हमें एक्सप्लेन किया। और मैं अभी अपना थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन देती हुई चलूँ कि आई एम वर्दा पठान फ्रॉम आई एम वर्दा पठान and faculty member of art and design. Ma'am, I want to ask a question from you. As a trainer, how we built our students to compete the market needs and trends? Can you please explain us, ma'am?
In order for us to have understanding of market needs, the teachers that are teaching in the classroom, the mentors, the assessors, the facilitators, the teachers, whatever we call them, need to be from the market. There has to be a mix of academic, market relevant teachers, because the classrooms need to connect. Like I always say, that our classrooms now are not in the four walls that we teach. They've now need to be completely, seamless and borderless. So if your teachers and if your management, specifically if you're talking about a small academy, a tuition provider, schools, larger public sector universities, if they don't have a leg or a wing, a department, or just themselves together, connecting with the market, when we say market, the corporate sector, the startups, everyone, the ecosystem, if you don't have connection routes or linkages with them, you're definitely going to disadvantage your learners. So, for example, if we talk about the business program or the computing program or the art and design program in your case, if you're not connected with the, let's say, the community of artisans for fashion and textiles in your own area, you will not be able to provide your students the first-hand knowledge of what is already being developed in the community. So बहुत दूर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती. You just need to develop a community network wherever your learning school is or college or university or institute is based. You have excellent communication and linkages with the industry around where you've set up. And provide your students the opportunity to connect with them, and more importantly, have your faculty and staff connect with them. It's extremely important, because at the end of the day, what I've learned is that the more connections we have with corporate and startups, for example, they're more inclusive towards having students work. and have the students, give them the opportunity, a window, as I always say, into the corporate world or the industry world or the world outside their classroom. It could be anything. And I'm also someone who believes in the fact that and I always acknowledge this when people do it, is that you also invite the corporate sector and the industry, the academia, media into your classrooms. Don't be afraid of bringing people into your classrooms. I've always done that. My students have always learned from seniors and staff around me. Within the community, just invite people over, have them speak to the students, connect your curriculum with that, and then you see the amount of learning that happens.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, I also want to ask one question more. How to overcome academic gap between local and international education? Like we know about that, there is a lot of gap between local and international gap. So please explain us.
Well, there's no right, correct one answer for this. The local international gap is going to be overcome through channels like ours. For example, what MONARCH is doing right now is giving Hyderabad, the community, and oh, we have Dr. Ali Raza Nemati with us. I think you should ask him any questions, because I think he has short shelf life in this. And I hope that he will be able to speak, because I'll be with you throughout. I think we should benefit from it. He's here. Dr. Ali Zanemti, do you want to answer this question about how to fulfill international and local classroom gap? You got to unmute yourself, Dr. Ali.
Sorry. First of all, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Sorry for being late, but I had an urgent commitment, so I just had to stop myself here. However, as per my commitment, I just wanted to be here for around approximately 5 minutes. The question was, how can you repeat the question, Manuela?
Yes, sir. How to overcome academic gap between.
How can we overcome academic gap?
Yes, Dr. Nemti,
Academic gap.
the question is basically, how do we, it's obviously the international skill set and qualifications, and there's the local qualifications. How we overcome this gap of not meeting or reaching the international requirement?
Right. So, just to be very candid, there are two main things. One is content, and one is the assessment criteria. Right?
I think Dr. Nemti's Wi-Fi is...
The core courses in England or in any other country across focuses on the core subjects. However, there are some mandatory subjects we need to go through in Higher Education Commission in Pakistan. Like everybody as an engineer, for instance, if a person is an engineer, that person needs to go through courses like Islamabad, like Pak studies, like English, and much English, right? It's one business English 1, business English 2, 3, 4, statistical inferences, and so on and so forth. So the basic problem in Pakistan is not basically the difference between the international qualification and local qualification for employability. A person who is internationally qualified, like HNs, and right now what MONARCH is offering right now, is more employable for a fact that they are more specific with respect to their content, their delivery, their assessments, and they create the right skill set. If I take an example, these days, the employer needs skill set rather than degree. Yesterday, I was sitting with one of the CEOs of a global platform, and he's saying that, of course, we do have much and many jobs available in the market. However, we do not find the right fit for the respective job. If I talk about myself, it has been around a week. I've been looking for a social media manager that should be able to launch social media campaigns, and I'm unable to find that person. I've got so many bachelors in marketing and masters in marketing. However, the basic skill set is always found missing in them, right? So basically, the international qualification creates the right skill set in you to be employable in the market. Right, so this is what a local qualification is, still misses right now. Though they have started developing mock interviews, mock lessons, everything. However, still It is very. I should be very candid. If I talk about recent research or report of the government of Pakistan, the IT sector of Pakistan is looking for 100,000 graduates of IT to serve them right away, joining them rather than they go through a training. So they could only find 5,000 people out of 100,000 people who could serve them. For instance, they want someone to serve them in artificial intelligence. So they are not into training them, right? They want that a person, once a person completes a degree, that person should be able to serve them right away. For example, if I need a person in HR, that person should be able to serve me right away in performance management, in setting KPIs, rather than I teach him how to set KPIs. So if a person is masters in HR or masters in marketing and does not know about KPIs or talent acquisition or basic HR processes, and if I need to teach him, so that person should meet me first rather than going into university. This what my humble answer is.
No, but I think that you're right, because when you speak about this, I think the problem lies on how an undergraduate goes through 4 years of study in computing and may not know basic skill set that the market requires. For example, I don't need them to go through a lot of coding. I just need them to give me solutions or web-based solutions of things that have come in the market. So I feel that they're just a little, well, I'm being nice, way behind where the market has evolved without having to study undergraduate degrees or masters. There are parallel professional qualifications and courses that are now helping students and learners become a lot more apt. So I agree with you. So I think what the probably higher education sector in Pakistan needs to probably shift its focus away from the rigidity, the control, but it needs to evolve the curriculum and be market.
One more thing I want to add, ma'am. Please unmute. Many students face key challenges once they step into career development. For example, most of the employers are looking for those candidates who have a good experience, but fresh graduates have no prior experience. So how to overcome these type of challenges as a fresh graduate?
I think Dr. Nemati should take this question because it's
Okay, fine. Though me and Kholah went through thousands of interviews, in the last organization we worked, but of course in my humble experience, I may answer that, right? Would you like to repeat the question again, for the fact your voice broke in between?
Sir, my question is, most of the employers are looking for those candidates who have good experiences, but fresh graduates have no prior experience and they have to enter in the market. So those fresh graduates have to face those type of challenges because they have no prior experience. So
Yes.
how to overcome these type of challenges?
Okay, so we call it a vicious cycle. It's a cycle, right? So a person goes for an interview, say, okay, of course, you need to have experience, and then for experience you need a job, and then you go again for a job. They say you need experience, right? So it's a vicious cycle. So
in the next situation.
okay, so now if I ask audience a question, of course, and while the moderators listen this, why do we need a person to have experience to be employable? Why? Do you know why? Would you like to answer? Do you know why? Why do we need experience? You
Because
answer
it
me.
will
Right?
polish our skills.
It means that a person who is fresh graduate does not have polished skills, polished expertise, and right skill to perform their duty. This is the reason why an employer needs experience. Otherwise, if you have got the right skill set and you can perform the right duty, you do not need experience. But unfortunately, we have so many graduates who do not have right experience, right exposure, right skill set to offer the respective job. Like, we need to understand one thing: we always sell our time. The way we buy things from a cart, from shelves in from a mart, right? For instance, if we go in a mart, we buy a juice and we want that to be sugar free, right? So of course we only pick the sugar free packets. Similar how when we shelf our skills to an employer on an employee table, they buy our skill set to serve a job, to be paid for these hours. And if we miss that skill set and if we miss those exposure, we will not be hired and we will not be employed. This is my question, and I just had to rush back to my ceremony. And I hope, I wish I could give more time. And thank you so much for taking me in between. I really appreciate Mankola for breaking her session into chunks and giving me the option to talk. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, you can post me. I can reply on a video call or on a text. Inshallah. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much, sir. Your examples, stories, and expert views were very informative and inspired a lot of students there. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Ma'am Kholah, I have one more question for you. Some people say that degree is degree, whether it is fake or real. Along with degree and proper education, one more thing is very important, which is personal skill set. Please share your view how those graduates can identify these skills after achieving their degree.
Well, I think that the one thing that I'm going to link with the previous question is also that during your degree, for example, if you're applying for a job or anything, I think there's an echo. Somebody needs to mute their system. There's an echo when I speak.
Okay.
Yeah, just ask everyone else to mute. So basically, what happens is when you're studying, during the time that you're studying, you are now in 2022 and almost 2023. I know that all universities, undergrads are working. Where I am right now in a country where undergrad students work, they not only work, they acquire certifications and skill set. So I'm just going to link your last question with your next question, which is that right now there is no undergraduate degree only. So if you or a postgraduate degree only, while you're studying, you have enough time to not only complete your degree but also look at your work with your placement officer or your department of corporate linkages, or if you have a career development center. If you do not in your institute, what you do is, as an individual or as a teacher, help your students finding work which is freelance, online, polishes their skills during the degree. That's extremely important. And like I said, which earlier as well, connect your classrooms to the industry, find them the kind of work that they're supposed to do and apply that knowledge while they're doing their degree. So when you sit in front of an employer, he says that you've just graduated, you have no experience. The answer is they have experience, because then you have to show that I have these 4 certifications apart from my degree. I actually worked with or shadowed this firm. I had during the weekends, this is what I was doing. During the evenings, this is what I was doing. Or right now, university teaching or classrooms are also hybrid. So you get time off from work. To answer your second question, and Kenza, if you could repeat your second question, I'd be able to better focus on it. And if you can have Ahmed Hassan just switch off his video, that'd be great. Ahmed Hussain to switch off his video. Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed, either you sit properly and listen to us or not be part of the video. Kanza, if you could repeat your question.
Yes, ma'am. My question was that in local countries, the degrees, some people say that degree is degree, whether it is fake or real. My question is that along with the degree and the proper education, one more thing is very important, which is personal skill set. Please share your view that how those graduates can identify those particular skills after achieving their degree to perform well in the markets.
It's very simple. Just go on to the Forbes 2020 list for the top skills that are required right now in the market. And the person who said this from the government, that degree is degree or degree hoti hai, probably for his own office when he was running his social media campaign, he didn't look at the degree. He probably looked at the person's social media management skills. So at the end of the day, you need skill set. When I and Dr. Nemati, like said, we sit and we speak to the candidate, what landed the candidate in front of us was probably his degrees and his resume. But what gets him the job is the attitude, the professional way he's managed himself till the interview, during the interview, and the skill set that the employer looks at. And none of the skill set that we look at when we hire even faculty, staff, management for IT, for HR, for project management, for procurement, we are looking at the person's soft skills. And when we talk about digital media, literacy, information literacy, and all these skills and people management, more importantly, most important for me, is looking at their career.
Okay मैम, you were telling us कि जो डिग्री तो डिग्री होती है चाहे रियल हो या फेक हो, उसके ऊपर हम बात कर रहे थे, तो मैम प्लीज आप यहीं से कंटिन्यू करें.
And also, I think somebody had messaged something in the chat that why do people hire experienced people and not fresh graduates from the field with better techniques and better skill set? Can I tell you that things have changed? All employers want fresh graduates, but more importantly, people with the right kind of skill set. You've got to understand for every job, there is a skill set that's required. If you read in the job description, that skill set will get you the job. You don't need to have experience. In fact, I am now becoming experience averse, because you could have 20 years of experience, but if you don't have the right, what experience does is it limits you sometimes, because you're not as creative, you're not innovative. So sometimes complacency and being okay with the kind of experience you've had for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, like I've had 21 years of experience, what it does is you're comfortable with what you know. And I think what fresh, so depends on what position this the organization is offering. For positions that have some creative edge, IT solutions, web-based solutions, digital technology, for social media, for marketing, for communications department, for the career development center, for even for the classrooms sometimes, for my undergraduate or level 3 programs, I actually prefer fresh graduates, because they come with creativity, innovation, they have a lot more flexibility, a lot of learning curve. So if you hire someone at a senior position that's had 30 years of experience behind them, their flexibility to join your organization and the culture values may be slightly difficult, maybe different. I would then give the opportunity to a middle manager, promote them from either within the organization or hire someone from another organization, but give them that room and space to grow. I hope that answers your question, Kanza.
I want to ask a question, ma'am. How we differentiate? How we differentiate old generation versus new generation according to the market needs and terms of employability skills?
So I didn't get that question. You were ask it again. What do you mean by old generation and new generation? What's the question?
Ma'am,
If you could type it in the chat, it will really help, because I can read it from the chat. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
ma'am,
I'll
I'm
write your
repeating my
question.
question.
Okay, your voice is breaking, so.
Ma'am,
All right, if you can hear me, then
I'm audible.
yeah, you're audible, but your voice sometimes. You can type the question in the chat box, and I'll answer it. Also, I'm not very.
Connectivity issue actually.
My internet is fine, and I can see you and hear you clearly.
So
You can
audible
type.
again?
Yes, you are. Yeah. I can
Ma'am,
hear
can you
you.
hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, ma'am, one more okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being poor and
It'd be great if you type the question, please, because I can't hear you again. Is Varda asking the question or Kanza? 'Cause I think Kanza can, I can hear her. And one more learning for you is in the future, just blur your backgrounds so you're not very conscious of what's happening at the background. Always helps. So Varda, if you could just type in your question in the chat, I'll be able to read it and answer it. And just
Yes,
to
ma'am,
tell you,
I'm writing a question. Wait.
all right, all right. So just to tell you that I actually believe in employability for the young, because the 2023 onwards is the era for the young. And I would rather hire someone younger than older, depending on the position I'm hiring for. And I would not want, if I'm hiring someone senior or with a lot of experience, I would want them to be very flexible and be tech friendly and be tech savvy. So I'd actually hire someone that's pro creativity, innovation. Their attitude is young. If nothing else, if their soul is older and the age is older, then maybe the attitude is younger. So I'm all for giving the opportunity, polishing and nurturing younger people than hiring someone more senior. But obviously, like I said, depends on the role that I'm hiring for and what my requirement is for that role. I didn't get your question on the chat, but I will. I will try. I thought that was the answer, so I tried answering it myself.
Ma'am, please open your chat.
I have. The chat is open. I got a chat message from Saqib Panwar saying that he can hear me, and I didn't get your message, which is strange. Which is all right, but Vada, now I can hear you, so you can ask me the question again.
Ma'am, actually, there is a net issue. That's why this issue is coming. Yes, ma'am. How we differentiate old generation versus new generation according to the market needs and terms of employability skills?
Well, we differentiate old generation and new generation because of the age difference that they have, but also because of the skill set. So if you just take a small example of someone that's, I was hiring for a position for a senior marketing manager. Now, a position for a senior marketing manager, and I interviewed someone very senior from a telecom company, and that person had worked in the telco company for about 15 years in one company and about 8 years in one. So he was very senior, but I didn't hire him because when I asked him basic questions with respect to the backend support provided for digital media marketing right now, the various different tools that we're using, he did not have clear answers, because marketing when he was probably working for the past 15, 20 years has changed drastically. So for me, older generation, for roles that require technology, require digital skills, technical skills, I would actually have the front face of my organization as some senior people. But generally, I would hire more, like if you look at startups, they're working with 17-year-olds to 28, 29, 33 is probably the highest age that they have, the startups. So I hope that answers your question, because the older generation would give you a lot of experience, a lot of steady hand, like I always say in the organization, value, they'll bring in the value and the culture they'll set up. But if you need the engine, the drive, the people who work in the kitchens of the organization that actually make things, are probably the younger generation. I hope that answers your questions, Warda. How many questions do we have? Or do we need to now pack up?
Okay, ma'am, the last question is that on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being poor and 10 being excellent, how would you rate a communication skill? As we know that communication is very important in business sector. So the communication skill ko lete hue as a basic building block for professional career growth, and why?
All right. So, um, communication, for example, if you could give me 1 minute, I think one of my parcels is here. I ordered something. Just tell someone. Just give me 1 minute. No, not 1 minute. A few seconds. I'm really sorry. The fact that you order so many things and forget about them, and then they arrive at the wrong time. So you answering your question, communication, I think is but it's a good question. By the way, for sometimes struggle with the fact that they're unable to translate who they are and what they're saying. The resume has probably been written by someone else. The profile is absolutely perfect, but their communication is where it falters. So for behind the desk jobs that require for you to probably in the IT jobs or jobs that require for you to sit behind the desk and not speak with people, you probably will be able to get away with it for some time. But now communication is a key building block. देखिए, अगर आप अपने आप के बारे में नहीं बता सकते एक जगह बैठ के, और आपकी कम्युनिकेशन में कोहेरेंस, क्लैरिटी और आपकी वोकैबुलरी में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं कर रहा कि आपकी पढ़ाई कैसे, तो या आप क्या सीख के आए हैं अपने 4 साल की, 5 साल की, 6 साल की डिग्री में, तो आई फील दैट that you're disadvantaging yourselves. That's why I think most of the very talented profiles fail to deliver when it comes to interviews and just telling about themselves. So कुछ लोग oversell कर देते हैं, वो भी एक दूसरा end है spectrum का, कि where they are saying too much when they should just need to contain. I think I always say brevity में ही excellence है, तो कम बोले मगर अच्छा बोले. Or yes, communication is key. And when we talk about communication, मैं इसमें पूरा एक lecture दे सकती हूँ अलग से, कि sometimes not saying is also communication, and silence is also a form of communication. Body language and communication is not always verbal. So cultures are based on families are broken into pieces because of gestures, attitudes. So communication is key, but understanding what communication means and how it adds your inner culture, and either builds it or destroys it or adds value to it, is extremely important. Umair Ahmed has asked me a question. Current trends in Pakistan, the expert entrepreneurs and people preferring short courses, boot camps, and start degree programs. That is true. And that may be a way for the future. डिपेंड करता है कि आप अपनी लाइफ से क्या चाहते हैं. सिक्योरिटी, आई थिंक द एशिया पैसिफिक रीजन में अभी भी डिग्रीज और वही बात है कि बाहर भेजना और पढ़ाना और डिग्री लेना और ग्रेजुएशन अटेंड करना, ये थोड़ा माइंडसेट अभी तक है एशिया पैसिफिक रीजन में. प्रॉब्ली चाइना, पाकिस्तान, इंडिया, बांग्लादेश, श्रीलंका आर स्टिल वेरी डिग्री ओरिएंटेड. So I agree with what Umair is saying, and more probably it's changing very fast, and like things come a little slow to our side of the world, but I'm telling you, if I was to hire someone to look after my website, I would not look at their degree, look at what work they've done. For example, if I want to hire someone artist for that I'm getting commissioned, I will their portfolio and their work and not where they've studied from, because कुछ टेंजिबल चीजें जो हैं वो आप देख के ही समझ सकते हैं कि किसी की कितनी अच्छी रेपुटेशन या प्रोफाइल है या काम कैसा है. सो फॉर
Ma'am, Kholah, I'm really sorry. There is some
not an issue. Just let me know what we are supposed to continue.
in between talking about uh, ma'am, can you hear us? Are we audible?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you if that's what you're asking, Kanza. But right now I can't hear you. I heard you once in the middle.
Am I audible? Please write it in the chat box. Can you hear us?
I can hear you easily.
Okay, ma'am. आप कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स के बारे में बताई थी. थोड़ा कनेक्टिविटी इशू की वजह से वो हो गया है. Communication skill तो हमें पता है, it's very important in business field. One more thing which is very important is decision making. Most of the fresh graduates are unable to grab that power of decision making. So how to generate decision making skill in fresh graduates?
Well, I think by giving them the room and space to make the decisions. For example, when we have graduates come and work with us, what we do as a good practice or have done in the past is that we give them tasks assigned to them in which they are making the decision. So they learn along the way. It's called onboarding or part of their training, part of the work that they're doing, and probably always give them a shadow or a mentor that's looking after them. So that always helps. And जब तक आप decision making process से गुजरेंगे नहीं, क्योंकि हमें अच्छा बहुत लगता है कि हमारे जो younger managers हैं वो decision making करें, but हम उनको इतनी space या room भी नहीं देते. So decision making is something that comes now. How parents are also raising their children, they're giving them more space and a room to decide things so that they're इसमें ये नहीं कि आप बच्चे को बहुत छूट दे रहे हैं. इसमें ये है कि आप बच्चे को you're teaching your learners how to make decisions for themselves, from choosing their own dresses to choosing where they're going to eat, what they're going to eat. You're actually just developing their decision making skills. For staff that you're hiring which is younger, make sure that they are working with line managers that are trained to give them that kind of space where they can make decisions, obviously decisions that impact monetarily. You can obviously take that away, but generally making decisions for smaller decisions to larger, and then obviously looking at their growth, how they've taken up decision making. But it's a process that comes with experience, and only once you start taking decisions, giving them smaller teams to work with, so that you see that they develop their hone their decision making skills.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Um, why it is all successful people say like you believe in yourself. Most successful people say that just believe in yourself. What is the secret to their success, and what does it mean to discover yourself? In what areas you need to focus or explore to discover those type of skills?
Well, it's being self-aware is extremely important because देखिए अगर आपके पास भी अभी 5 मिनट का टाइम होगा, आप फोन पे होंगे, आप वॉशरूम जाएंगे, उसमें भी आप फोन पे होंगे. So basically, if you are not talking to yourself, your inner voice is not heard. You are not spending time in doing nothing. Sometimes the art of doing nothing helps you. So spend time with yourself, listen to yourself, communicate with yourself, talk to yourself. It's extremely important क्योंकि अगर आप देखें, आप अगर अपने आप को खुद भी मॉनिटर करें तो एक 24 घंटे के दिन में आप अपने आप से कम बात करते हैं, बाकी सबसे बहुत बात करते हैं और आप सोचते भी कम हैं. तो if you have seen the documentary by Abdul Salam की जो थी on Netflix, and generally when you look at these great thinkers or these philosophers or scholars that have created or invented things, or they were thinkers, they used to spend a lot of time thinking alone with themselves. So I think that's a huge missing link with this generation, your generation. They don't talk to themselves, don't think of them. That's how you believe in yourself, because you are so sure after having a conversation with yourself that this is what you want. It comes with age, but I've seen really young people, people 18, 19, be good thinkers, but ये एक personality trait है जो कि out of habit develop करने की जरूरत होती है. So it's not something that you're born with, or if you're not, you can develop it. Speak to yourself, have a conversation with yourself, process grief and small failures, process them, don't block them. I think that if you understand that ये एक small failure या setback जो आया है ये is not the end of the life, because at the end of the day हम आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा सोचते हैं इस बारे में कि बस दुनिया ख़त्म हो गई है, सब ख़राब हो गया है, ये छोड़ देंगे तो कुछ हो जाएगा, ये यहाँ जॉब नहीं करेंगे या ये माइलस्टोन अचीव नहीं किया लाइफ में, तो then we beat ourselves up with it. So ek to we are Muslims, so we should believe in that divine intervention and the fact that we will receive what we are supposed to receive. So stay calm, believe in yourself, and depend only on yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. As you're running out of time, I really appreciate your continuous support from day one. For every question you answered, to every confusion you cleared about everything about the international education standard. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this informative session. We will arrange such type of remote conferences in future for sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you, Kanza. Thank you, Varda. And I hope you all learn to become a lot better moderators in the future. You only learn by doing. So well done today.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank our followers and the listener who joined us from Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. Thank you for your joining and believing us. Right now, our campus is offering short courses for 3 to 6 months time duration. You can visit our campus from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. And if you have a query, you can contact through WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram pages. All the contacts are already mentioned on our pages and all the links are there. You can check and visit. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I hope this overall session is very informative for all of you. Allah Hafiz. Take care.